For some reason, my mouse wasn't. Well, welcome everybody. I see we have some guests tonight. Vivian Hahn, Dima G. We already said hello to Edward Allison. And where did the other, Ozzy. Welcome. I believe you're all NIMAC members, and we welcome you. We'd love to have company. So we've been enjoying some of your club's presentations as well. So thank you for joining us tonight. For members, I sent out an agenda and there was a treasurer's report attached. So you could take a look at that, but bottom line is we're doing very well because we've had basically no expenses this year except for speakers and Zoom fees. So it's been a very inexpensive year, so that's going to put us in good stead for next year. So that's good news. Hold on just a second. Okay. I have a couple things that got added in. Let me just do quickly before I go to board members to do their reports. John wanted me to let you know that there were 8 folks from our club who participated in the Worldwide Pinhole Photography Day. If anyone else did participate but didn't upload yet, just a reminder that you need to upload before June or by June 30th. Let's see. I'm just a heads up. I'm going to be sending out a really interesting photography contest that I got from Walter Blitz. It's a nursing home. I believe it's on Long Island. And what they do is it's kind of part contest and part charity, I should say. And they want people to submit photographs. There are prizes for the photographs that win. And then they will pay to have the winning photographs framed, and they will be displayed in the nursing home, first in a photo gallery and then in the various residences, rooms and homes. So it's an interesting concept, and if you are so inclined, you might want to participate. And Michael Podwee sent me something else as well that I will also be sending out about another opportunity to participate in some, I guess it was, Michael, you can't help me because you're muted. I think it was kind of a sharing of an artist sharing. So I'll be sending that out as well. And just wanted to mention again, we are going to try to have a picnic towards the end of the summer or the beginning of September, right around before Labor Day. And it will be at our house. And that is, of course, pending that everything's going okay with COVID. And we will have a requirement for the summer picnic that you be vaccinated. And that's our requirement, not the club's, Johnson and mine, for us to feel comfortable hosting. Matt, and we're working on finding out if we will be able to go back to the church in September. So I'm guessing we really won't know until close, or we might know sooner if they're going to let us, but whether or not we do it or not, again, is pending how things are going with COVID. And I believe our first meeting may be virtual anyway, because the speaker is in Maryland. Okay, Terry, can you unmute Terry, Matt, to talk about the fundraiser?
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Yeah, we're almost ready to get going with the fundraiser. We prepared a kind of a user manual to lead you through how to do it. And what we decided to do is we're going to have a Zoom meeting just for the fundraiser, because if we try to do it at the beginning of the meeting, it just takes too long. And hopefully that Zoom meeting will be recorded. So if you miss it, you can come back in and we'll cover everything at the Zoom meeting about it. As you remember, the fundraiser has a series of logo merchandise that you can buy: men's and women's short sleeve t-shirts, men's and women's long sleeve t-shirts, a fleece hoodie, and we have a cap, and we have 2 size mugs, 10.5 ounce and 11.5 ounce and 15 ounce. And the mugs come with the logo and your name on it. The name on the shirt is optional for an additional $8, so that's up to you. So we're going to go through with that, and you can order, and we'll go through the ordering process, and that's about it. I think in about a week we'll be ready to have the Zoom and really go through this. And as soon as we have the Zoom, we'll be ready to get started with real orders. I just wanted to point out, we've kind of expanded it a little bit, or not expanded it, but worked out a method so that if you want to buy, for example, a t-shirt and you want it in multiple colors and multiple sizes, or in 2 different sizes or 2 different colors, you can do that by just putting in multiple orders. And I've checked with Stitches and Ink, and you have the choice of having stuff shipped to you. You'll pay for the shipping, or you can go to Stitches and Ink in Hightstown and pick it up. They'll be available for you to pick up the merchandise. So that's about it for now, and we'll let you know when the Zoom meeting is and when we're going to get going.
Okay, great. You want to cover Photorama while you're at it, Terry?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Photorama. I sent out an email blast, middle of the day today, and it had the whole thing for Photorama, how you what it's all about. There's a portrait photographer who's going to be doing it. It's all virtual, and it's on July 10th, Saturday, July 10th, all day. Same thing, $40. You can sign up using Eventbrite, or you can go to their website if you want to mail in your payment. I don't know with the number of people they have how much their Zoom capability is. So I suggest if you want to really get in on it, you register pretty soon. And her name is Judy Host, and she's an educator. She's a portrait photographer, and she's going to also do some Photoshop of combining pictures or photos and using textures and things to combine it. So it should be pretty interesting. It sounds good. As far as the pictorial results, we had 2 winners, 2 HMs in the creative category. Francisco with Lady in Red got an HM, and Lynn with in the open category, On the Beach. So congratulations to those 2. And that'll do it. So you should have gotten an email today with everything about Photorama. If you didn't, let me know.
And Terry, our guests that are here from NIMAC, are they permitted to attend if they're interested?
I didn't hear what you said at the end.
Our friends that are here from NIMAC, if they're interested in participating in Photorama, are they allowed to do that? Or do you
Oh,
have to
yeah,
be a member?
yeah. I don't think you have to be an NJFCC member. I think you can go on their website and register.
Okay, so if anyone's interested, and NJFCC, that's our New Jersey conglomerate of camera clubs. And you're certainly welcome to sign up for that. It's usually pretty good. The last 2 years, of course, it's been virtual. So this will be their second virtual. There you go, njfcc.org.
If you have some names or somebody I can send it to, I'll send the email blast about the Photorama to that group.
Can you, Matt?
There's one person I can send it to.
Yeah, hold on, Terry. Matt, could you unmute Deborah? Do you see her? She's got blue in the background. She's waving at you. Can you unmute her?
Okay,
There you
thank you very much, Debbie and Matthew and Vicky for everything. With NIMAC, what we do is we send out for specific clubs, like you're a member, so we send yours out. New Jersey, understandably, is their own coalition. We don't do it, but he has to wait. What I can do when it's in July,
Mhm.
if you send me some information, I think this is somebody who wants to join tonight, but he's going to have to wait. If you send me the information, then I can add it to the minutes and everybody gets the minutes. That's how I get around my own rule. I make the rule, I break them.
All right, Terry, if you can,
And Vicky's got my, it's dcohen99@icloud.com.
okay, so
Yeah,
Terry will
I
get something.
think we interacted because I came to something you were putting on and I needed to get permission to come in. So I think we've interacted. If we haven't,
Yeah,
I'll
your
get
name
it
is
from
familiar.
Debbie.
Your name is familiar. Okay.
Okay. Matt, you want to talk briefly about the gallery show, and then I think we're finally ready for Delaney. Thanks everybody for your patience.
Yeah, the only thing is that we don't know if we're having it yet. So we will have it if we are allowed to, but currently the township building is still closed. So they're supposed to get back to me as soon as they know. And hopefully that'll be soon enough for our September show at the Gurgan Gallery.
Yeah, so if we don't know, say probably Matt, what, mid-August, we'll just forego because you know you need time to
Yeah.
get things framed and so forth if you haven't already.
Yeah, I mean, we've put that show together within a month, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully they'll know soon. I was actually allowed to go vote the other day at the township building downstairs in the basement. So I would assume hopefully they'll be opening upstairs, but I don't know.
Yeah, terrific. All right, well, we'll see. Okay, let's get started with our speaker then. We have a special speaker tonight, and I'm not going to do a lot of introduction because I have a feeling that he's going to be telling us quite a bit about himself and his background. But his name is Dalanie Franklin, and he is the founder. He's a Philadelphia photographer and a combat veteran, and he is the founder of Photography is Medicine. And he founded that group when he realized that he needed an alternative to taking prescription medicine for the after effects of having been in combat and in war. So I think that's going to be all that I'm going to say because Delaney, like I said, I really think you probably are going to tell us a lot about yourself, and I hope you're going to. So welcome. We're glad to have you.
Good evening.
Hold on, Delaney, one thing before you start.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention this to Debbie, so my apologies, Debbie. Delaney said it's okay to ask questions throughout the presentation, so we will be monitoring chat. So if you raise your hand or throw it in chat, we will throw your question out there to Delaney.
And I see, Valerie, you've been putting a number of things in for Delaney's various links to Meetup Group and his website and so forth.
Yep, and I'll repeat them at the end.
Okay, terrific. I'm going to go myself on mute. Welcome, Delaney. Take it.
Hey, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Living in the moment with photography. I'm the founder of Photography is Medicine. This is the beginning. This is what I do. You're going to learn about me. You're gonna learn about what I use, and you're gonna learn about what photography as medicine is about. And you get to see the benefits that come from the use of things in my life. I'm a combat veteran who uses photography as a form of healing. I captured good and bad memories while deployed to Iraq twice. I deployed with 427 Field Artillery out of bomb holder Germany. Now, as every other veteran, once we leave the military, we go through our rough times. We go through depression, we go through anxiety, and sometimes it's really hard for us to just focus in life. So I had to figure out a way how I can treat these symptoms that I was having, because it was almost to the point where I was going to lose it. So the doctor that I was working with, he said, you couldn't find anything. And I told him that I'm trying. I didn't want to drink. I had buddies that killed themselves. Had a lot of people did harm to themselves as well. They're in jail. But I was trying to find an alternative solution. So he introduced mindfulness to me. So at first I was worried because I didn't know what to get. I didn't know what to expect because nothing actually worked. Then, after experiencing true progress, this is why Photography as Medicine was created. Now here's my website information, everything, my meetup, my Facebook, and my Instagram, everything is Photography as Medicine. We made it just simple and easy and straight to the point. Photography as Medicine logo means a lot to me, and I'm going to explain it to you. It's the past, the future, the present, the good, and the bad. The drops that you see is the past, the top, bottom is the future, and the middle is the present. And the two snakes represent good and bad. The goal is to create balance, and this is what we're doing in life with this here, with this logo here. And this is what Photography as Medicine represents. Mindfulness. Learning to live in the present moment. I use mindfulness. Also, I have to tell you guys, during my time when I was deployed, you're going to see me looking down. I was injured. I was hit by an IED, so I have TBI, so my memory isn't as good as it used to be. So I have to look down for notes to continue with the story. Now, mindfulness is a way to calm your mind down and focus on the moment. Who can do this? Anyone can do mindfulness. You can do this anywhere. How? You have to learn how to breathe. You have to take yourself into a room. You have to sit down. And you just have to sit there by yourself. And while you're doing this, you learn to reconnect with your body. And once you learn how to reconnect your body, breathing, you'll be able to use mindfulness anywhere. The tools I use the camera, music, colors, and nature. I like to take walks. I ride my bike. I love cooking. And these are some of the things that I use to get me through my day and to keep me going. Now, the gentleman that you see here in this photograph here, he came out to the group and his battery died on his camera. He was a little bit upset about it and he came up to me and I explained to him, I asked him, he said, I don't know what to do. I said, do you have your phone? He said, yes. I said, well, you can use your phone and you can start taking photos. Now, the thing is with this photo and why I mentioned this is what this gentleman is doing now on the top of this vase. This is the sculpture, I'm sorry. It's beautiful. This is showing how he's using his mind to do things that our body isn't capable of doing. He learned how to breathe, he learned how to focus, and he learned how to live in the moment. And this is why we practice meditation, and this is why we don't take things for granted in life, we appreciate what we do. Now, yoga is something that I use, and it helps me to be able to move throughout the world. I have injuries, I have surgeries done on my shoulders, and I have to use alternative methods to create photography for the world to see. And this is how some of the things that I do. You have to become your own motivator to achieve your own success. Now, the photos that you see here, this is me. On the bottom, this is from my first deployment with a few of my buddies when we were in Iraq. And on top, you see what brought me to the light. The Wounded Warrior Project taught me and they showed me a new way in this world. And I appreciate everything they did. We were able to work with other veterans. And when we came together, it was just like when we came together, it was a peaceful moment. Now, we rode our bikes through Manhattan. We rode over the Brooklyn Bridge, all the way up to the Hamptons. And once we got there, the gentlemen that we were riding with, they didn't quit. We had people who didn't have limbs. We had people who had back injuries, but we all stuck together as a team. And that's what made me feel good. And when I came back home from this, I had to figure out a way how I can help myself and how I can help others around me in life. Now, giving others to live in a moment. It was really established for veterans to have a safe, judgment-free place where they can feel comfortable. Now, being a veteran, when we come back into this world, a lot of people don't understand what we're going through. So we get upset, we get stressed out, and we just get frustrated. And we don't have the same comfort what we had when we were in the military with our buddies. We just had ourselves. Now, I tried several groups, the photo groups I tried, it was just too much for me. It was too much competition, too much structure. And the peer support group that I was with, it wasn't for me as well. Now, the veterans that was in this peer support group, we had the Vietnam vets, we had the Korean vets, we had Iraqi vets. And even though we were all vets, we didn't get along. It was always a competition of who did the most. And that was what I was looking for. Now, the gentleman here that you see on the left, I met him at a Wounded Warrior Project event. I walked up to him and I told him, I said, hey, I have a group in Philadelphia and I'm trying to get to work with veterans. And I told him about photography as medicine. I gave him the information. And about a month later, he gave me a phone call and said, hey, I'm interested in doing something in Philadelphia. And are you ready? And I'm like, yes. And this was on January 11th. And also, I would like to thank Unique Photos and Old City for allowing us to use their space. Now, the veterans that you see in the room today, they come from all different generations, different branches, but we all came together as one on this day. And we learned the basics. They had to learn the basics of photography, but they was all interested. There was a little shaking at first, but once things got going, they started to ease up and we started to feel comfortable. They started to feel like home again, because once we veterans get together, we start to feel that sense of community. Like we were all together and we had a smile. And as we walked through the city, they had questions, we helped each other out. And this is the environment that we wanted to create, a sense of environment of calmness. And this is us here at the end. We are able to work with all. The veterans that you see here today, they came from different eras. We had a couple get, a gentleman proposed to his fiance, and everyone left with a smile. And when everyone feels good, it makes me feel good as well. Now, veteran teaches others about PTSD. Now, this article was written by the Wounded Warrior Project, and they published this last month. You guys go check it out. Now, I suffer from PTSD. Now, sometimes I go through a bunch of issues at home. I go through anger, I go through anxiety, and some days I just have to escape the world. And this is why photography and my family is what keeps me going today. I had to find a purpose in this world. And once we find a purpose for veterans, we're able to go out there and create, and we be able to go out there and help people like we used to. Now, our meetup group meet twice a month. We meet in Philadelphia and sometimes the greater Philadelphia area. No one is a burden. Everyone is welcome. Any equipment or skill level is welcome as well. And the reason why I say that is because we have people that come from different places and different levels of shooting. And some like to learn and some like to teach. And this has created a great bond. And we also give the group free to explore the location. We set out a point where we're going to go. We give them a practice, and we give them the point. The reason we do this is so in order to use mindfulness, you have to be able to calm your brain down. You have to learn how to breathe. In order for you to get that clear picture that you want, this is what you would love to do. And it's also, and the group is also free. It's free, and that takes stress off. You get to deal with professional photographers and people alike, and you don't have to worry about paying any money. We are here to help you. My goal is to get you out of the house. As long as you come out the house, that puts a smile on my face and also gets me out the house. That gives me the motivation to drive. And this is why you can have the link at the bottom. You can go to meetup.com at Photography is Medicine. Now, our vision for the future is that we want to get involved with the community. We're going to volunteer. We're going to help with photos. We're going to volunteer our time just helping the people. We have the youth to reach out to. We're going to help, our future is to help the youth by teaching them a new way of life, by teaching them a skill, but using the camera. Also helping the children to build their confidence by having an ear to listen to so they can understand that it's okay to be who they are. The educational therapeutic programs also is something that we want to do as well. We want to teach people how to edit. We want to teach people how to use the camera. And therapeutic programs, like I said earlier, I use yoga. I like to meditate. And these are the things that we can use to help people grow in this world. Now, what you're about to see now, these are my photos. This is my shooting style. And that's and it's all right. I recommend everyone in our group to shoot in manual. And the reason why I say shoot in manual, because it teaches you that it's okay to fail. This makes you want to go out and work harder and shoot more so you can get that same photo that you see on the screen and out of your view on that screen once you get home. The goal is that you should want to go out and shoot more. Mindfulness photography motivates you to get out and shoot. Depression and anxiety keeps you in the house. Shooting photography using mindfulness gets you out. Now, when I take my photos, I'm normally just walking down the street. There's nothing special with some of these, there's nothing planned. But when I take my photos, I love to look around. And this one here, I looked up. And with this one here, you can see the detail, you can see the lines, you can see the way how the structure of this building is. And also you have the clouds, but it all points to the center. And this is how I try to keep my photos is. I want to drive your eyes to a certain object, and I want you to just focus on that. Even though everything else is in detail, you still get to see whatever you need. The same with this one here. This is another building that I've shot. It's similar to the last one, but if you look at the buildings, you see the reflections of the other building, which I think is awesome. And this works for me. Excuse me. Now, this one here, I was in New York, and we were in a park, and I had a Canon T3i camera. Now, this is the travel camera that I use on my normal camera is a 5D Mark IV, but my travel camera goes everywhere with me. But the thing is, I learned how to stretch my cameras by using certain programs and not being afraid to do what I need to do once I see an object, a subject. Now, this is buildings here. You can see how they have everything stacked up. And it works. I didn't get stressed. I was able to calm my nerves down, and I was able to focus and get the shot that I wanted. So when I was able to get home to edit the photo, everything turned out well. Now, when you see this photo here, my main subject was the building. That's why it pops out more. And the reason why I did that, because we have below, you see the trees, you see the bushes, the trees, and that's the greenery. But I wanted the building to be the main focus, and I love the way how it looked. And yes, it's a little too deep, but it works. And with that being said, whenever you go out and take your photos, it's about the style of how you feel and how that photo makes you. Now, this one here, as you're looking up, this is in City Hall. I made this one black and white so we can see the details in the building. And if you zoom into any of my photos, you'll be able to see you can see everything up close. I love the windows. I love how the arches form. And like I said before, the photos that I take, it's just a spirit of the moment. This one as well. I was walking and I looked up, And this is the things with being an injured disabled vet. Sometimes I have to put myself in positions that I have to get down on the ground. And it hurts, but I enjoy photography so much. I have to do what I have to do to make myself happy. Now, this one here, they closed this building, so I had to put my hands around some bars just so I can get this photo. But if you look at the ground on this photo, you can see the detail and it leads you straight up to the building. And this is what I'm creating in my photos. Even though it's clear throughout the photo, the main detail is the building. And then it's how we're trying to do. We're trying to lead your eyes up to the building so it creates the calmness of your mind. Now, this is perspective. This is the Lone Ranger. He's heading to work. And this building here, there's nothing really special about this photo, but what I loved the most about it, what I loved about it was the gentleman and how big this building is. It was really huge. And like I said, sorry, excuse me. Now, this photo here, I was in Amsterdam. It was about a year or two ago. And what I loved about this was just the sunset. When I took this photo, I was with the travel camera, the T3i. And when I saw the photo, it was so much going on. I like the statues that's to the right. And sometimes it's not perfect. But the thing is, it came out in a way that made me feel good inside. And those who seen it get to see another place of the world that others will never go, never get the opportunity to see. This here is inside the Comcast Center downtown. I love just looking up. Whenever I look up, you get to see the way how things are. You get to see the different lines. You get to see the reflections of the light. You get to see art. Now, a lot of people don't think about that, but I do. And that's the best thing we had to do. We had to just go out there, we had to shoot, we had to have fun. And if you try to take photography by the book, it's going to become misery or boring. Now, this gent here, this is when we were in Germany. Sad elephant. This is the reason why I made it black and white. But as you can see the wrinkles in it. I don't understand why, but I focus on the body, focus on his eyes, I focus on him. Now, this is the family. They was heading this way, they was heading down to the water to get wet because it was hot that day. And the thing is, they had the ball, but if you look at the photo, you see the ball in the front. This is what they play with. I wouldn't want to be hit with that. But with that being said, I focused on the ball, but I always had the subjects in the back as well, so you can see them as a clear image. My aperture is normally high, so I always try to make my things clear as possible. So when I go in, we don't have as many problems when I'm coming to editing. Now this is just them just walking away. That same elephant that had his head on this wall, he decided to walk away. But as you can see, the wrinkles in this, excuse me. As you see the wrinkles in their skin, it's beautiful. And if you zoom into these photos, you'll be able to see the clarity on them and the way how they move. Now this photo here is at a dog park in Chestnut Hill. Now I focused on the dog face and the dog front. And when you look at the dog's eyes, you see how clear it is, but in the back, you see how it's blown out. I did that for a reason. My main focus was just to show that this dog and the way how sometimes the lighting is off, you have to just work with what you have. Now this one here, I call this George. As I was walking down the street, George was looking out the window. I looked back at George and then I snapped away. But when I realized once I got home, there was so much more in this picture that was just over the top. You had the shutters, the way how the window, the way how George was looking at me, the way how George's ears was just sticking up. It was a great image. And there was nothing special about this image, about the settings. It was the normal settings. I was walking, I say the shutter speed, it was about 100 when I took this picture of George. Now here, this is my man, Johnny. This is our cat in the house. This is when I was practicing with a 50mm lens. Now Johnny, it's a great cat, but when I took this photo of Johnny, I decided to focus on his eyes and the mane in his face. Yes, the background is blurred because I had things in the back that I didn't want in the photo. So when I edited, I decided to take some of these distractions out. But now you look in Johnny's eyes, Johnny is looking at you, and Johnny's like, hey, what do you want? I want some food. And this is how Johnny is, believe me. Now this is the pig nibbling on the air, pork eating pork. But there was this photo that we just went to the farm and I just decided to take this photo because it was just a great photo and it made me feel good at that time. And now the squirrels, they're normally hard for me to get because I'm really not looking for them, but this was the moment when I saw a fat squirrel just sitting on the tree, eating a nut. And he was focused on me and I was focused on him. It gave me enough time to take that shot. And when I took that shot, I brought a piece and I had that feeling in myself again. And it made me want to go out there and do more photos. Excuse me, it made me want to go out there.
Delaney,
Yes.
before you move on, I have a couple questions that popped up.
Okay, cool.
One of the questions is, how often do you go out shooting?
I go out, I try to go out about 2 or 3 times a week. Due to my injuries, I have to walk with a stick and the camera's too heavy. And if I carry the bag, it hurts me. I have to take about a day or 2 off from going out. But the thing is, I try to shoot as much as I can. And if I'm not shooting, I'm in the house editing photos. I also go back to edit photos that I took from 2013, because if you go back and edit your old photos, you get to see a different view and you get a different photo out of that image.
Okay. And another one, it says you're shooting at such high apertures. What is your ISO?
It depends on the environment I'm in. The reason why I shoot with a high aperture, and my ISO is probably sometimes is that I say 400 or 600 if I'm outside. But if I substitute my aperture with my shutter speed, then I create the balance with that there, and that's when I take the photo. The thing is, I stress the camera as hard as I can, and I put it to work so I can get the photo, the image that I want. When we was in the military, they taught us, because I changed my MOS, I went to I became a multimedia illustrator in a combat camera unit, and they showed us how to shoot fast. And this is the reason why I like to have all the details in, and whatever I need to take out, I can do it.
Okay, 2 more. Which kind of lenses do you use?
I use the 24 to 105 on the Mark D. And for the Canon T3Is, I use the 18 to 135. I recommend the 18 to 135 on a crop sensor because it made it easier for me instead of the standard kit lens. And also I was able to download a program called Magic Lantern, and it was able to push my crop sensor from 6,000 ISO up to 12,000. So it was able to get the images that I wanted to create on a budget.
I think that you answered the question, but it said, what program are you using to work on your photos? So you said Magic Lantern.
No, Magic Lantern is a program that you would put on your SD card and you would place it into your camera. And it sets up a program to your camera and it modifies your camera to make yourself work harder. And I did this when I've been doing this. I did this years ago. Now, but I use Lightroom to edit. That's what I use.
Okay, I think I found Magic Lantern and I will throw it in chat for everybody. All right.
Years ago on the crop sensor. I don't know if it's still good, the program. I can't recommend it, but this is what I do.
Okay. Thank you.
Next.
Keep the questions coming, guys.
They can keep coming. I'm here. I am ready. Now, this is me in Texas. Now, some of the places I go, I have to do things that I shouldn't be doing, but I had that passion from being in the military. And I still had that drive, like I'm still 18 and 19 years old, but I'm really not. These injuries stopped me. But when I go to these certain locations, the higher you get up, the better the image you get. Now, this is when we was walking in the park, and this one here, as you can see, I just focused in the middle. Yes, everything on the outside is blurry, but it all comes back into the middle. And yes, I made it green. Yes, I did. But it looks good, and it pops out the image, and that's where it brings the focus to. Now, this lady here, young lady here, she was just living in the moment. It was a hot day. She was standing on top. We had the water flowing. So I decided to take this shot. Now, on this day here, I had my ISO, I believe was on 600, but I had a very high shutter speed. And the reason, like I told you before, I used it to compensate it, to create the balance out of my photo. So once I snap away, I'll be able to get the image that I want. Now, this one here, it's the same day. But as you can see, I used to be, I'm a graduate, a multimedia, I am a multimedia illustrator. So I used to do Photoshop, whatever you can name, I did it all. So, but what I like to do sometimes is in my image, I like to make a certain subject stick out. And this one here, I made the father stick out with the hat. And once you look at this hat, you can see the details in it. You can see the lines in it. Even though the joy, you can see the kids having a great time, it still brings you back to the father wearing the hat. And that's how it is, a little mysterious. Now, when we go out in nature, I love to take photos of everything. Sometimes I zoom in at the first thing I see and I take the image and it's like, wow. Then once I zoom out, I get another image because I'm like, man, look at the green. Like this photo here, we have different colors, shades of green. Everything in this photo to me was awesome. And it's clear, and this is the reason why I shoot with a high power, with a high aperture. If I wanted to, I could have cut an image out and I could zoom in and it still be as clear. Now the same with this here. This is just me walking around the neighborhood. And the only thing I did was slightly enhance it and to make the berries pop. But like I said on the last one, whenever you see something that looks good far away, you can always zoom in. Now I did this one here the same way. I just zoomed in. Now you can see the detail on the leaves, the colors, and that's what the moment, and it's a feeling. And it's the feeling that I get, and it's the opportunity I get to show the world the feeling that I get to receive from these photos. Now, this photo here is from when I was visiting family in Bavaria in Germany. This is a chicken coop, top of it. I just happened to come outside and I'm like, man, this looks cool. It reminded me one of these old school movies, and I was like, man, I need to just do this so I can show someone once I get back home, because not everyone gets to see these images, and it's just like, man, I felt great. And I know I made the green, the wood looks awesome. It just made me feel warm and I was at peace. And while I was here, it was quiet. They had a huge farm and it was just peace from, instead of just going from the city, this was just peace. I didn't have to worry about loud noises. I didn't have to worry about being stressed at that time. I just was at a calm place. Now, when I decided to take a walk on the grounds, out of all the green, I saw this bug sitting here. So what I did was, like any other one, I walked up, I made it as clear as possible. I stood still, I had my breathing correct, and I snapped away. And my main focus was the bug. And as you see, the whole photo has this green, it has this white, it even has a fly in it. If you look up towards the left, there's a fly, but it all brings you back to the red bug, the red and black bug. Now, a lot of my photos that you see, as I told you before, I do graphic designing and I do Photoshop. So I just enhance some of my photos just a little. But as you see in this photo here, once you take the shadow out of your photos, you get to see the details and your image. You see the shadows of another branch in this leaf. You get to see the green in the leaf, how strong it is, how it makes you feel, and it gives you that sense of strength. It's like, it's really great with this one here. Now I also get to show you the back. Now a lot of people ignore these things here, but I found some peace in this flower. I found joy in it. I love how it looked. I love how the leaves started to crumble. I love how it started to turn. But if you really look at it in the middle, what do you see? You see it's trying to form. You see new life is coming, trying to grow and trying to bring this image back to, trying to bring this plant back to life. Now, this cactus, if you look at it, you can see the pattern, you see the swirl, you see the buds. And this here brings the power. Some people are like, oh no, I'm afraid to fall on it, or I'm going to touch it. But no, what I see here, I see is art. And when you come from up north and you go to certain areas, everything is just like brand new to you. And this is the reason why I took my time and took this image here. City life. Let's get ready for this one. Well, you won't be welcome to the city unless you see shoes on the line. And this is what, and then I took this photo right down there and in front of the Art Museum. Now, this was the moment here when when we were staying in Manhattan, and I had the opportunity to look out the window. And when I looked out the window, I was able to get this photo on the left. And my main focus was like the building, the blue building and the back building in the back. I was able to get the detail of the buildings on the side, but the main focus is the building in the back. But also, if you look down, you can see the details in the vehicles. You can see the taxis rolling around. You can also see some of the people. Now on the image to the right, I was able to zoom in a little bit more. Mind you, I did this with the 18-135 lens, I believe. Yes, 18-135 lens on the crop sensor T3i camera. And this is the image I was able to get. And it's like you see the people walking across just being themselves. And this is what I enjoy. It gives me that moment of just shooting something from afar and still be able to create art for others to see. Now, this gentleman here, I was walking down City Hall and he was playing his soul out. And as you can see in this photo, you can see on his cheeks, he's blowing into the saxophone. And that's the reason why I made the saxophone the way that left the saxophone the color it is, the way it is, and made everything else black and white. There's a lot going on in this image, but it always brings you back to the gentleman playing the saxophone. Now, this one here, we're just walking. I was just walking downtown, heading to City Hall, and I saw the gentleman skateboarding as I was walking up, and as I was walking up, the young lady in front of me, she told him to stop and to take a photograph. And it was just me, and I was like, hey, this looks good. I said, let me stop. And as I stopped to take the photo, the gentleman here, yes, to the left with the yellow shot, even though it's blurry, it still matches the background. And yet my subject in this image is still clear. There was nothing done. I should probably say my shutter speed was at probably 200, and my ISO was at about 300. No, I'm sorry, about 400. And like I told you before, normally when I'm taking my photos on the street, I'm walking, and it's just a snap, and I just keep on moving. This image here had to become black and white. It's just so mysterious. I see the woman involved in this photo. She was walking over the bridge in Manioc. She had the beautiful white hair. She had the white coat on with it. So this is the reason why I took this photo here and made it black and white, because it was mysterious to me, and this is the reason why I did this one here. Now, this is something that I do here as well, being a street photographer that I call myself. I love to look at weird things. And yes, I blurred out the background, but the main subject of this photo is the puddle. If you see the puddle, you can see the reflections of the building. And that's what I'm trying to let people see when you take these photos, when you go out in this world, you take these photos, that it's not all about everything about just being clear, it's about what you see and showing the world a new perspective. My goal is for people to go out there to just look at weird things, or just look at the clouds, or just look at the rock on the ground and say, oh, the rock made a smiley face somehow when you put them all together. It's just about just going out there, just being yourself, and just having a creative mind, a sense of freedom. Now, this gentleman here, we were at a meetup group, and we were just walking, heading to another location. What I love so much about this photo here, I loved his mask. I love the pattern. I love the colors. This is what made this image pop even more. But besides that, he's holding his camera. He's holding an old school film camera, and he was ready to go shoot. But he sticks out more than everyone else. I blurred the background out myself, but this gentleman sticks out to us, and that's what matters with this photo. Now, with being a street photographer, we capture the good and bad. Now, I go out to some locations sometimes that a lot of people won't go out, and unfortunately, this one here was right after the riots when the people were looting. What you see in this image here is the smoke, but if you also look, you see me focusing on the splash on the wall. That's them shooting the water there, and the rest of the image is clear. Now, when I go out to some of these areas, you have to be very cautious. And I believe by me being in the military and dealing with certain situations, I'm able to handle these situations a little bit better than most people without fear. This is something that I do, and it's something that I enjoy. My family doesn't like it, but I believe that taking these photos and putting these images out there for the world to see could bring a different view to the world.
Dalanie,
Yes, ma'am.
couple questions before we get too far away. The group is liking what they see. One of the questions they have is, have you ever tried using a soft focus lens?
No. I always use the lens that just came with the kit. The only lens that I really purchased is the 50 millimeter and the 70 to 200. The reason why I just looked at photography was just as a hobby. It was a way just to get me out of just to get me out of a funk, so I didn't ever get into the tech side and go into the lenses and things like that.
Okay.
I have a lot of people that I have a buddy, his name Ron. He's the one that helps me get onto all the technical things when it comes to the lenses and things like that.
Okay. The other question is, do any of your subjects get angry with you for taking photos without their permission? And if so, how do you handle it?
Well, normally, what I normally do if I'm with the group or if I'm by myself, I normally walk up to some of the people and ask them if I can take a photo of them. Some say yes, some say no. Now in Germany, you have to ask permission. If not, you get in trouble. And if they say no, that's fine. I just go find someone else. And if I ever post a picture and someone lets me know, like, hey, I don't want to be seen in that photo, I have no problem taking a photo down.
Okay. So with the guy who was playing a saxophone, I'm sure he had a hat out. Do you ever drop money into, their hat if they're actually,
No, I didn't. I'm not making any profit off of these images that I'm putting out to the world. I'm also giving a gen exposure. I'm not doing it to degrade anyone. The photos that I try to take of people of them just being in their natural state, just having fun and just being themselves.
Do you ever share your business card with them so they can see the photos?
Yes, I do. I give my card to people to let them know if they ever need a copy. I'm going to put it on Instagram, which is Photography is Medicine, or I put it on Facebook. And if they want to copy the image, I can send it to them. We run into random people all the time. I run into random models or just regular people in the streets. If they say no, it's no problem. We just keep moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Now, this photo here, as you see, this was the group. We were just taking a walk over the Franklin Bridge. And as you can just see, this is us just being different, just trying to take the photo from different angles. Yes, a little things that we do things as safely as possible. If it's going to be dangerous, we say no. This is the reason why you see these photos here. And this is just the spirit of the moment. We saw the train coming and we said, hey, let's hurry up. We were tall enough to put our arms over and snap away. Now, when it comes to this here, I walk everywhere. And when I'm walking, we get to see things. We get to see art everywhere. You get to see buildings. You get to see photos. You get to see graffiti. You get to see life. Like this is the photo from behind the art museum. Sometimes they have the photos, and I took this photo here, and there's nothing big about it, but it meant something to me. I was able to get some good photos without going inside the museum. Hey, I was kind of happy about that. And this here, we all know what this is behind the art museum. This was just something that I just enjoyed, and I just took it away. You had the clouds in the back, but the main focus is the sculpture. And it's just a giant light, it's just a giant club, excuse me. Now, as you can see this photo here, sometimes I like to do things from different angles and different perspectives. And the only thing I did with this, I just flipped the photo upside down. But what it did was, you can still see what I was getting out of this image. This is the creative side of just being yourself and just making the image speak to you, and so others can see what your vision is. Now, this is when we're in Germany in a museum. And this one here, I enjoy this one here. And the reason why I made this photo black and white, because we was able to get the details. I was able to see the shiny, I was see the armor, just like a giant RoboCop or man on a motorcycle. And I love motorcycles. And motorcycles are fun. And if you get these images like this here in this museum, like I did, I recommend you guys go to this Simsheim in Germany and shoot away. Now, this here is inside the Comcast Center. I never known this was there until I went in there, and I looked up, and the sculpture here is awesome. You see things that you would never see. When we normally walk in a building, when we walk in a place, we just say we're just gonna go wherever we wanna go, and that's it. Or we're looking at our phones and that's it. But if you put that phone away, you get to see different things in this world, and that's what we're trying to create. Now, these are my candid photos. Now, if you ever meet me in person, I am full of tattoos. So I am a tattoo fool. Now, this young lady, she's just getting ready. They had the Powerpuff Girl on her drawing on her leg. She's getting ready to get tattooed. But also, the color that they use on my leg to get it ready also matches what I hear. And that's the reason why I made this image black and white with the hint of the purple, because it made it pop. And this is what we have to do when we take our photos. Sometimes we have to take colors out, and the thing is we try to make them to a way that makes us happy, then we can help the world to see what we're trying to show. Now, this gentleman here, he was just standing there. He was standing there for someone else, and I just happened to walk up, and he gave me his story. But the way how he copes, he uses tattoos, and he enjoys them. He gets to go out to travel. He gets to show the world his body. He gets to show who he is. And a lot of people are like, "Oh man, he's a bad person." This guy is one of the nicest people I've ever met. A pure soul, and that's the people that we try to be around. People who have pure soul can always make you feel good. As you can see with this one here, now, this gent here, he has to smile. The gent on the left has to smile, but And I tell you why, that's a smile, and he has fear, and he has a little nervous. A chest tattoo hurts. It hurts really bad. So that's the reason why he's feeling that moment. Now, the gentleman on the right, excuse me, he's focused on his jab. He's ready to get it down. He's drawing the alien on the guy. But the reason why I made that shirt black and white, I mean yellow, kept it black and yellow, and the rest of the image black and white, because I wanted that to pop. I wanted not just to look at him tattooing, I just wanted you to see that shirt. And that draws your eyes, even though you see the tattoos, what he's doing, it draws you back up to that shirt, and then you get to see the guy doing his work. Now, this one here, this young lady, what I like about this image, the way how the lighting hit her, and the way how the makeup is going on, and the way how her hair pop and the things in the background, this was just them just getting ready for makeup. But the lighting popped on her skin and made it shimmer more. And it made the image pop more, and it was more of a background photo instead of one that you actually post in a magazine. Now, this one here, it's one of the candid photos, but if you see the one on the left, you see myself, but you also see one of the managers from Compass, and then you also see the young lady in the picture. This is what we call this a candid photo. Sometimes I get these images and I get home and I go, wow, this turned out really good. Now, the gentleman on the right is Robert Rufkin. He's Compass Real Estate. He's the founder of Compass Real Estate. As you can see here, he's showing a pure smile. This is his true expression. And this is what we try to do whenever we go out there, whenever I go out there to capture moments at an event or anywhere. I want to see people within themselves. This is another moment. They're just having a conversation. And they're just talking away. But you know, what makes this picture pop is a gentleman's shirt. You can see him talking. You can just see them just being themselves. And that's just them just being in the moment. Just them just being in a moment. Now, with this photo here, now there's so much going on in this photo, but at the end of the day, it brings you back to the gentleman that's wearing the red. Now you see the expression on the young lady's face looking at him. You see one lady smiling. You see the other one like, but the thing is, even though it's blurry, it still brings you back to the gentleman in the red. And this is what I mean, that not every photo that you're going to take is going to be perfect. It's all about catching people living in a moment. And this is what I achieved from this photo here. Now, this photo here is another one that I enjoy. Meet me in a red room. Now, the gentleman was just, everything worked out. You see the gentleman standing in the middle of the table. You see the lady sipping from her drink. You see the other man passing the paddle. And you see a conversation going on. But as you look at this photo, it still brings you back to the gentleman in the middle. And what we're trying to create is an atmosphere of, it's not about trying to make everything perfect. It's about creating a clear image that can show people what's going on without them worrying about being someone taking a photo of them, worrying about them being noticed. Now, when I take these photos here, this photo here, they're having a conversation. But if you look to the right of the gentleman, you see the poster on the wall that pops, that brings your attention over. And even though the people are standing there, we still have that photo that says Fast and the Furious, bring your attention over. And that's what I mean with the creative side. It's putting two things in one image, but at the end of the day, my eyes still lead over to the right and look at the gentleman in the side. This one here as well, it's just a random photo. She just took her friend photo, and the young lady was interested and wanted to see it. And this is why you see the pure joy in her face. And that's what we created there in this moment here. This is why I made it black and white.
Dalanie,
Yes, ma'am.
real quick. It looked like in one of your pictures, especially the one with the mirror, you had a flash on. So are you using a flash in those instances?
Yes. No, well, yes. In this environment here, yes. In some indoor environments, we have to use a flash. What I use on top of my flash, they have a alternative version of the Gary foam dome. the Gary, it's like the dome that you put on top of the flash. Instead of the flash just bouncing off the ceiling, it creates the flash throughout the whole room, and it fills in the light. And you can go on Amazon and order it. Probably about, I forgot how much I paid. I believe I paid about 10 to 15 bucks for it. But the one, if you go online, they want about, for the Gary phone one, is about probably about 50 or 60 bucks. I'm not sure at the moment, but it's more. But I got the same result from using that. And this is what I use whenever I do events and indoor shooting.
You said Gary foam dome?
Yes, that's what it's called, a Gary phone dome.
Okay.
But what I'm telling you is that the one that I purchased, you go on Amazon and look for something that's similar to that, you can get 15 to 20 bucks, and it does the exact same thing. The goal is not to spend so much money on all this equipment. We spend so much money in this equipment, it's a shame. And this is the reason why I try to keep people calm when it comes down. They will see my camera and say, wow, man, that's a nice camera. But I tell them, like, most of the photos that you see, this comes from a camera that I had for like 6 years. And I'm like, it's a crop sensor. So it's not about the camera, it's about the person who's holding the camera. And that's how you get to achieve the image that you want. Now, this one here is what I love the most. Now, when it comes to graffiti, you can get so much out of an image. Now, as you look at this one here, the colors that you're going to see so much. But at the end of the day, where did it lead your eyes to? It leads your eyes through a wall to the young lady face that's in the back. Now, if you guys are willing to ask questions about the coloring, we definitely can do it now. Now, with these photos here, when I'm taking the photos with this one here, I just make sure the settings are the same. Once I get home, I just add a little bit of saturation or a little bit of vibrant. And the images that I want to pop out a little bit more, and while I'm using Lightroom, I take the brush over it, or I take the tool over it, and I add clarity to it. And that helps the images pop more. Now,
So actually, Delaney, there was a question about coloring.
yeah.
How do you decide which color to use and when to switch it to black and white?
Well, every photo that you take, if it doesn't look good in color, you can always turn in black and white. And that's what I was always taught. Sometimes it works. Now, when it comes to the photos, like the coloring, I just slightly enhance them to get the feeling that I want out of the image. If you make it too colorful, it looks like a cartoon, but if you make it just right, it'll turn out fine. And when the colors don't work in any of my photos, I just turn them black and white. And if I can get some out of the black and white photo, I would use it. I would just slightly enhance certain things in the black and white photo. I'll add the contrast and just moving it out at the end. The same with this image here. Even though you see the color, all the colors around, my main focus is straight down the middle, all the way to the pole that's sitting all the way in the back. But as you see on the side, you see the detail with the coloring, with the colors. The only thing I did was I just put a little bit of clarity on them and just slightly increase the color, just a little, the saturation a little bit, to make it enhance, to make it stick out more than the other colors on the side, images on the side.
I'm sorry, I asked the wrong question. It says, how do you select color technically? Harvey, am I asking the right question for you this time? Let me find you and unmute you. There you are.
Yeah, I was wondering technically, how do you decide? Well, not how do you decide? Well, you do decide what you want in color and what you want in black and white. How do you do it technically? What software do you use? How do you do that?
Oh, well, I use Lightroom. What you can do, you just take the saturations off of the photos. If I want the orange to pop, I will raise the orange. And If I don't, if I want the purple to pop, I raise the purple. If I want to take the red out of the image, I would take the saturation out of the red. And while you're in Lightroom is one of the programs where you're able to go in and you're able to manipulate the photos. And wherever is left, if there's still colors in there, I just go over it with the brush and just take the rest of the colors out and just turn it black and white.
Oh, okay. So you make the whole thing black and white,
No,
and
sir.
with a brush you go over a certain part of it and bring out the color?
No, sir. What I do is I take the color image, as you can see with the flower on this image here. What I would do is I will put the tool over it, and then I would make the flower pop out, and then I would select the invert button to make the rest of the background black and white. So the only thing I would have to focus on is just the flower. And I would just wipe around the flower, all the areas that I want to keep black and white, and I would just let the color pop from the flower that way while the rest of the image is black and white.
All right. You're gonna have to show it to me someday.
Yes, I can definitely show you. It's one of the things that I had to learn. It's the same thing if you take a photo in Lightroom and if your image is dark. What you can do is raise the shadow brush, raise the shadow up, and it brightens up the areas in your photos that was dark. And this is what I do with the post once I'm editing. So some of my photos, they're dark. Once we get in editing, I can have fun. And that's one of the reasons why I do shoot with a high aperture as well.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Any more questions?
Nope, I don't see any other ones.
Now every photo of graffiti doesn't have to be in color. You can always turn black and white, and you get a different feeling from this one. Like here, you see the faces here, and my focus was on the faces. It made me feel the moves of monkey see, monkey do, monkey want to look just like you. But also you can see the sad face of the clown in the back. But this image here is great. And I made this one black and white because the color image didn't look good. Now, this one here, I made a color pop on this one. This is when we're in Germany. And this is when I was using the crop sensor camera. Now, like I said before, I have to stretch the crop sensor camera sometimes to get the image that I want. But on this one here, I made the clarity. On this one here, I wanted the orange to pop. I wanted the orange to pop. It gives you the spark, it gives you the shine, and it gives you the joy. And it brought that moment that I needed at that time, because what I saw there is what I was able to bring home and capture it and do the same thing on the computer. Now, this is another image that I took while I was over there in Germany. In Germany, they get them free range to graffiti everywhere. When I tell you everywhere, they get the graffiti everywhere. When we were over there, we was able to go through the park to take some photos of all the graffiti that they did. The next week, my father-in-law sent me a picture and they redid everything again. But on this image here, it speaks to me. You can see the hand, you see the detail in the hand, and also you see the euro. And what they doing is just the way how I look at this image is just like, this is what they doing. We just take and they give. And but also what you also see in this photo, you see the vine landing over the euro. There's just so much in this image that you can just interpret yourself. Now we go back to the colors. Now with this one here, what I liked about this one, it was just so much. And if you see, I blur some of the things out in my images to get the people to focus on what I want them to focus. I didn't do much on this one, but I loved it because the angle, the way how it has the little snail monster on the snail monster girl, whatever it is. And also you get to see where we're going at from the sign, the street sign. And there was another one that we also took. Now this is when I was underground. Now if you have the old Canon, the crop sensors, they had the flash on them. Now with this here, I have to work with the camera, trial and error, just to try to get the image that I want with these when I'm in dark places. Now, like I said, I had the 18 and 135 on, but I had to work what I had to get the image that I wanted. I wasn't prepared for this when I went over here, came over to Germany for this trip. But what I was able to do in editing, I was able to pull out the guy that's dancing. I was also to make the colors pop to the way that wasn't so bright, but enough so the guy in the image still is the main focus of this photograph here.
Delaney,
Yes, ma'am.
quick question. The question is, how often do you crop in camera by selecting the scene, or do you crop later in Lightroom?
I crop later in Lightroom. I do everything in Lightroom. The reason sometimes we run out of, like I said, most of the photos that I take. Now, I have photos when sometimes I had to go into certain places, and I have to shoot really fast. So I have to make sure all my adjustments are there. And so once I take the photos and I get home, I'm able to just do certain enhancements to get the photo that I need, the image that I need.
That was it. Thank you.
Now, this is another one here. This is off of 76. I've been wanting to take this photo forever, and I got a chance to take this photo this past Saturday. Now, what I was saying before, I learned how to shoot fast with a high shutter speed. Sometimes we'd be driving a car doing about 70, 80 miles an hour, and I put that camera out the car, and I get the photo, the image that I want. And that's the reason why I teach people to shoot in manual, so you get to learn your camera. You get to learn how to do the adjustments. You learn how to get the settings. But also, I was also prepared for this moment. I had to have my settings correct in the car before I even reached the image. And once I got there, I was able to snap away. But as you can see, once I snapped away, you can see the details. You can see that the eye, you can see how you see the little blue Luigi. But also you can see the detail in the image with the graffiti, and also it was on top of the railroad track. And that's what I try to bring when I take my images, so people can get things that they would only see when they drive in the car, and it's my job to bring it to the light. There was a moment where they had Aritas, and it was spray painted all over it, and I took photos of it, and I posted it, and a week later they cleaned it up. And this is the type of effects that I have on the community. It helps them clean it up in America and overseas they enjoy graffiti. Now, with this one here, this is just showing you guys how you can make multiple pictures out of one image. As you can see to the top left, that's the original photo. But if you take the colors out, you'll be able to get pink, you're able to get blue. You have to manipulate the photo to get the image that you want. And this is all it is just taking the same image and just taking things out to create the moment that I chose to have. Now, the eye. When we take things here, and when I represent photography as medicine, when we go out there into this world, photography helps people like me just to live and focus on the moment. Without this and without editing, a lot of things would be a little rough for most of us out here, for veterans and civilians alike. We all suffer from issues, and some people are afraid to go out there in the world to ask for help. It's my job to go out there to offer this help to those who want it. If those who want the help, my job is to help you to show you a new skill and guide you to a new way of living. And that's what creates the beginning of your journey. The goal is to focus on what you want to do and what makes you happy. No matter what anyone says, a person can tell you that this is a horrible image, but if it makes you happy, that's what matters. In order for you to stroll through this world, confidence has to be built, and the only how you can get confidence is by attaining it yourself. You have to be your own drive, you have to be your own success, and you have to be your own motivator. No one can tell you you can't do anything. You can do anything you put your mind into. And no matter what it is, and despite what anyone goes through, I am here as a helping ear and a person to help. And this is what we do. And this is why photography and medicine was created, to go out there to help veterans and civilians alike, because we all need someone to live in this world and to move forward. And this here is the end. And this is a beautiful day. I'd like to say thank you guys for this moment. And I am here for any questions that you have. This is the end.
I'm laughing because I was like, I recognize that shirt. And then I'm like, oh, it's me.
Morning.
Great. I do have a question. Do you shoot in RAW or JPEG?
I shoot on RAW. I recommend you shoot all your images in RAW, and that helps you to edit your photos and get them the way that you like once you get into your editing software.
Excellent. Excellent. This is great. I know everybody hung in there because Dalanie was on a roll. So does anybody have any other questions? I'm not sure if you can see the chat, Dalanie, that they are loving the excellent use of selecting colors within your presentations, especially when you did the blue and pink.
Well, thank you.
They love the presentation. Thank you for your service. Great job. It's very inspiring.
Thank you.
A lot of kudos in here. It's moving faster than I can read.
Well, we are here. Like I told you guys before, we did our tours in Iraq, and the goal is to come out here just to help the world, to teach the world a new perspective. The things that I've seen growing up as a youth and being in the military changed the way how I look at the world. We have good and bad people in this world, and that's why Photography is Medicine is here, just to let everyone know that we just have to create balance. You can be the toughest beast in the world, and I made that person sit down, they cry their eyes out, and they let themselves go. Why? Because the goal is to make people to feel comfortable and be themselves without the fear of someone going out there blabbing out their business. Only thing I recommend whenever people come to talk to me, as long as you don't mention certain things that's illegal, it's fine.
One of the questions, oh, somebody said, how did they get that photo of me when I was glowing and fluorescent? So that was the walk that I went on with Dalanie. And one of the things that we did was a pop-up. So Dalanie, do you want to explain a pop-up?
Listen, I didn't even know about this pop-up, and I forgot about this pop-up. Listen, my memories is pretty much gone. This is the reason why I use the photos. Once I took this photo, once I went through my files to look at the pictures, once I look at my picture, I'll be able to remember what's going on. Now, this pop-up was really fun. And the people that we had in the pop-up, and like I said, my photos, when I take my photos, they're like a story. There are different things there are different images, there are different places, different backgrounds, and different things there. Your goal is to try to focus and get the image that you want. Now you got to get down sometimes, and sometimes, like I said, you have to stretch your camera. With this photo here, with her, with the lights going off, I probably did this in editing. I know my main focus was on her. As long as I get the clearness on the shirt, the words, I was able to go in the Lightroom to lighten up the shirt. That's how I created that image there.
And in that particular room, they had blacked it all out. So I'm not sure if any of you know what a pop-up is, but they literally just took a space, and throughout this space, they had different backgrounds and different setups. And one of them was this really dark room, and they had glow-in-the-dark things on the wall, and you could just take random pictures. So now I'm gonna have to go back and look at those pictures.
I saw the pictures this morning, and I was like, oh my goodness, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this. And that's the reason why I brought it up to you guys, brought it up tonight. But yeah. Photography is here. Photography is a new way. It's always been here, but it's a way for creative minds to go out there to help save lives. And it's a therapeutic method that a lot of people are afraid to use, but when you have people that's out there and willing to work with you and help you build yourself up, you'll be able to get through. And I tell you this is that if you look at me, I'm full of tattoos. I'm over 6 feet. And some people are afraid of me. But once they start to speak and they get to sit down, or we have our moments, they be able to calm, they be able to calm themselves, and they be able to relax. And once you relax, you get to hear some of the most things that you never thought you would hear before. And that's what I bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, you're almost taller than me when you're kneeling.
This is true. Well, I didn't find out until like 2 years ago that I was really tall, because most of the people I hang with are over 6 feet. And the smallest one of us, one of my buddies, was like 5'11". So my wife was like, and my kids were like, "Dad, you are really, really tall." And I'm just like, okay. But like I said, but I can make you feel comfortable. And that's what you need. You need people like me. The tallest people are some of the nicest people in the world. We are nothing but gentle giants. We are there for you until you try to do something wrong. And until then, we're here to help.
Excellent, excellent. The pier, it looked like it was a pier where you were taking all the pictures. Is that the in Philly where they had all the graffiti? Didn't they block that off now? Like you can't even get to it?
When they opened it up again, we did a meetup there a few months ago. Maybe about a couple months ago. Now, the first time I went there, that was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. When I showed up there, the guys, there was a group out there shooting, and they told me that they just closed it, and you're not allowed to go back there. And being a street photographer, I'm like, I drove all the way from up here from Mount Airy. Yeah, that's not going to work. So this is what I do. Sometimes we have to do things that, as long as it's not breaking the law to a point, we have to do things to go out there to get the images that we want so people can see. But graffiti pier is open to the public now. I'm not sure, and the last one we went is open to the public. Each time you go there, you will see something different. I went there in September, and then when I went back in October or November, the photos were totally different. And that's the thing, is it keeps switching up. And when you out there taking photography, it helps you to get in that moment, especially if you're by yourself. You can put your music on, and also it helps you to get through the time you can just sit there and think, and you can figure things out. And also what I learned with using photography and editing, it helped me to focus on the moment. It helped me to focus on the moment. It took that stress away. And yes, when I got done, some of it came back, but I was still able to go through my day because I had a good time. And that's what I think about.
Excellent, excellent. Do we have any other questions? Matt, can we just do a group, take everybody off of mute?
Yeah, I can make it so everybody can unmute themselves if they want. Anybody can unmute themselves if they'd like.
Okay.
Dalanie, it's Debbie again. Thank you very much. This was really wonderful.
That's correct.
Dalanie, that was an awesome presentation.
Thank you.
Delaney?
And you can stop the show.
Delaney?
Never like to see yourself. The share, you can stop the share while you're talking to everybody else.
I'm trying to do this thing. Like for me on this one here, my mouse doesn't show up.
Okay.
So give me like a second how to do this thing.
While Delanie's doing that, does anybody have any other questions or comments?
I might. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Wes.
Hi. Hi, Delaney.
Yes, sir.
It was enjoyable listening to you. I was a corpsman during the 35th Medical Service Squadron during Vietnam. You brought back memories. But I'm curious. Thank you for your service, and I'm glad to see you're okay.
Thank you for your support. And thank you for your service.
It's a long time ago, but my question, as a veteran, do you still get ability to go to the BX and buy camera gear? I remember I bought my first cameras when I was in the service at a significant price. Do you still have access to it?
Yes, well, I was medical retired from the military due to my injuries
Okay,
to go on, and also if you're a veteran, they allow veterans now to go on to the military base to go to the PX and things like that without having full retirement and things like that.
I'm just saying that it may be advantageous for you to shop there when you want to buy more lenses or equipment for your photography, as
Yes,
opposed to a B&H or anything else.
I have a gentleman that we look at things online. Sometimes I buy used lenses. The only ones that I use now, the main one, if I'm going to go shoot sports or I'm going to go do certain things, I bring out the 70 to 200.
Mhm.
The lens that I walk around with is the 24 to 105.
That's the best lens.
And you're still shooting, you're shooting primarily digital, correct?
Yes, digital and raw. Yes, sir.
Okay. If you ever get interested in film, contact Valerie, and Valerie knows me. If you're looking for if you want to play with a 35 millimeter, get in touch with Valerie and she'll connect you with me. And as a former serviceman, I'll be glad to help you out.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. That sounds awesome.
My pleasure. I enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
I just want to know, you didn't get permission before you went to the coal pier?
It's open to the public now.
Is it? Because when we went there, we almost got arrested.
When did you go?
It was a number of years ago.
Oh, they
And we
just-
had the transit police came and they said, did you see that no trespassing sign? And I said, what? No trespassing sign. And he said, that's why you're not getting arrested, because you can't see it.
I've done that before.
I was like, oh my God. But he took our names and he said, if you ever come back,
Yes.
you're on a list. So, but now I could go back.
Yes, you can go back. Listen, if you ever get off 76, if you go on to like towards Lincoln Drive, you see
Yeah.
tracks since the bridge there going towards Manioc. I decided to drive up there one day to take some photos of the train. I was up there for about an hour. I had everything. I had the trains, I had the tracks, I had the graffiti. And on my way back out, I ran into the police officer and he said, hey, you know, it's trespassing. I need your ID. I gave him my ID. He said, you can't come back. Well, I took all the photos that I needed and I never had to come back to this place again. So I was fine.
Well, that's how I felt at the time, but now I want to go back.
Yes, listen, we did a group there last year and it's opened up to the public. I made sure it was open up to the public so I can bring the group back, bring a group there, because my responsibility for the group is that I can't afford anyone getting hurt or anything like that. It's my responsibility and my job to protect you guys.
You didn't want to get them arrested, huh? It's a great place, though.
Yes, like I said, it's open. You can look it up online.
Okay.
It will let you know. You can go down there, and like I said, it's beautiful. I can do a meetup for you guys in a couple months if you want to go back there. I don't mind going there. It's gonna be hot now, though.
No, I don't. I'll wait till the autumn.
Yeah. Yes.
It'd be fun though, Delaney. Could we get a group together and go into Philly and join you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, maybe we'll do that over the summer.
Yes, y'all can send me an email, or y'all can send me. I'll ask Valerie to send me an email, and we can set something up, and we can put it on Meetup.
Okay.
Join Meetup as well.
Sounds like a plan.
And for those of you who are
Definitely.
retirees, Delaney has a meetup set up for June 17th.
Where are you going?
Going to Collinswood in New Jersey. They're having a cruise night, so there's going to be a bunch of old school cars out there. So it's just an opportunity just for us to get out the house and just to try.
Where in Jersey?
Collinswood. Collinswood.
Collingswood. Oh, okay, down to whatever, 206.
I can't tell you. This will be my first time going there. I have like I say, with the group is that I give the members opportunities to throw out places to go, and I just go do the research on the place, and then I will set it up and then go. And that's what we try to, with the group, we try to give people their own sense of their own power in the group, so we can go to different places, the areas where we can go.
Cool. And that's the 17th. I'll look on your website.
It's on Meetup, and I just
Yeah.
put it in chat.
It's
And-
slightly, it's south, it's around, it's just south of the, what is it, the mall, where the Garden State Mall is, Garden State Mall is, it's down Cuthbert and down that area.
Where?
It's actually, if you know where Cherry Hill is and things like that,
Yeah.
it's out that area is where it is. It's Cherry Hill, it's actually Maple Shade in that area. It's out there down 295 and off onto the roads from off of like 38 and 70.
Okay.
Way west from you.
Yes.
Not that far.
Yeah, that's where my show was. That's where I had the show at the gallery down there.
Okay. I'll check it out.
And I put the link in,
I saw that.
Chat.
Thanks, Val.
and a gentle reminder to everyone that you can save the chat. If you click on the 3 dots to the right, you can then choose save chat, so you can get all that information. However, if you have a problem, let me know and I will send you the links via email.
It goes to your documents, right? File?
It goes to wherever you select on your computer.
Yeah, I think mine's automatically set up to go to documents.
All right.
Okay,
Very nice, very nice.
very great show. Thank you.
This was really excellent.
Yeah. Great job, Delaney. I'm searching through chat to see if we missed anything.
Is that plug still on the side of the art museum? That big plug?
We're still, are we?
Delaney, you're muted.
I don't think that thing is ever gonna go away.
Oh, really? It's still there?
We never saw it.
It's cool looking.
It's enjoyable. There's so much art in the city. You just take a walk. You have the flags, you have an art museum.
You've got the graffiti all over.
You have to go to certain places. Yes, I love graffiti, but you have to go to certain places to get some of the graffiti. But the thing is that what I love about Philly is that the best part of Philly, I like old city. And you get to see the old style of how the world used to be. And that's the best part about Philly there.
The Rodin Museum.
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, what do you want? Okay, what do you want, little boy? You want to come and see what's going on, what you missed? Where'd you go? Oh.
What's Pat talking to a cat?
Pat is talking to a cat.
Okay, just